Hello good and not so good people. I'm dropping this video to address a disturbing trend I've noticed in this digital space. A war is brewing, and try as I might, I can't seem to stay out of the fray. The hate has gone too dang far. It's a tale as old as time. The Beast versus Gaston, Sonic versus Mario, Android versus Apple, rage-inducing red versus blue. And let's not forget me versus the mewling, Mephisto-loving, Marvel-hating malcontents. I'll admit it, we still treat life as a binary concept. If you're not white, you must be black. If you're not manly, you must be gay. If you pick a side, you must be contrary to the other side. Say you love a thing and barely get a whisper of support. Say you hate something and watch everyone show up to pick a side. Violence leads on the news. Hate reigns on YouTube. Like we all have the exquisite benefit of hindsight. And so when I hear that the MCU, the movie universe I practically willed into existence after 2 decades of incredibly bad and cringe-worthy superhero movies, is dead, or bad, or over, a part of me wants to turn Red Hulk and go off on these bad actors. To my unsophisticated mind, these mischievous trolls are simply looking for clickbait to rile up rational fans and ramp up their base. And I'll admit, there's a part of me that has to accept that Phase 4 is a lot more and less than I expected. There are inconsistencies, there are head scratchers, there are decisions that make me wonder whether Kevin Olupimski Feige has let go of the teal of the good ship Marvel Studios. I mean, for real, Taika Waititi has really gone off the reservation, right? Now, before I go too far, I'm not looking for a fight. I'm simply planting myself like a tree by the river of truth. Is the MCU dead? No. And let me elaborate. Heck no. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a true believer with a Disney Plus subscription, with the time and the stones to address these scurrilous and half-baked claims. Because unlike some of the trolls out there, I actually love superheroes and comics and good movies. I'm going all the way in. Foes and fans, be very aware, there will be tons of spoilers. The major narrative on Phase 4 that has been brought up is that of oversaturation of characters. Phase 1 was tidy and simple, an obvious experiment that fortunately did not flame out in the tentpole Avengers movie. Phase 2 also had 6 movies and took time to introduce 2 sets of characters, Ant-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy, in addition to the Iron Man, Thor and Captain America characters, already introduced in Phase 1. Of course, another Avengers tentpole movie was also introduced. Marvel had finally locked on to what the fans really wanted. Now, Phase 3 went big. 11 movies, even more new characters were introduced, and a couple of the old ones got their own sequels. These characters all serve the plot of bringing together our heroes to confront the ultimate big bad, Thanos. Now, thus far, Phase 4 has had 6 movies, 6 Disney Plus TV shows, and 1 final movie yet to come to end this phase in October. To the casual fan and movie watcher, Phase 4 seems like a lot. I will agree, the prior points are valid. On the other hand, a lot goes on behind the scenes that isn't always apparent to the casual observer. Yes, Marvel is pumping out more content. Big stinking surprise. Everyone is pumping out more content these days. In this platinum era of television, from Netflix to Paramount Plus, TV and movie studios are capitalizing on our very American need to binge and overconsume all content. Movies, good, bad, mediocre, have been turned into TV shows and miniseries and franchises. Simple plots and recognizable movie stars are signed on to helm mostly mediocre movies. And they spawn a whole cottage industry of YouTube channels that coalesce to either complain, praise, hype, or predict the content that was created by someone else. It does seem a little hypocritical to whinge about the proliferation of content creation when most of us owe our channels, our hobbies to those very same greedy corporations. There are like 500 reaction videos with performances, predictions, critic style videos on DC, Marvel, you name it. Content creates content. It's everywhere. Get used to it. Personally, I had to wade through Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Prodigy before unearthing the jewels that are Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Lower Decks. I have watched all of WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, What If, Loki, Moon Knight, and Hawkeye twice. And let me tell you, as a guy who watched every single stinking episode of the Arrowverse on the CW, the quality of those Disney TV shows are irreproachable. The talent is evident, the directors are on point, my kids and I loved Miss Marvel, there's a whole continent of people that love Miss Marvel. I believed Moon Knight and Winter Soldier tackled some very high level conflict and challenges. The final line from Vision when he says, "But what is grief if not love? Persevere," still causes me to choke up. I mean, are we even watching the same content? Look, no one is forcing you to consume all content, particularly with Netflix and Amazon Prime. I've become more discerning about what I watch. A perfect example is the Resident Evil TV show on Netflix. I played the games and watched the movie content which starred Mila Jovovich. The movies were lacking in plot but had tons of butt-kicking action, so I was willing to give the show a chance. And it was not for me, and therefore I quit after the third episode because ain't no one got time for crap even if it's a known IP. Putting out a video to talk negatively about something that intelligent people will eventually conclude is mediocre is not a great use of my time or good for my soul. What I can do instead is surmise that Marvel and Kevin Feige have a plan, and that plan includes a larger universe with mutants, fantastic adventurers, and new Avengers. Of course, new characters have to be introduced. Of course, new worlds and new concepts are being staged. How will it end? I'll give you my take by the end of the video. To be succinct, what's meant for you is meant for you. You will have your audience, and that audience will want to see what you're putting out. So if you don't want to wade through history to get caught up in what's going on in one movie, don't. Really. Just don't bother. Do quit the BS, however. The MCU is not bad. You just don't like it, and that's your opinion, not fact. The next issue for the naysayers is the apparent lack of direction in this new phase. Again, I get where they're coming from. In fact, I get this point so much that I'm slightly swayed by it. I mean, Eternals feels like a documentary showcasing the history of the world. The Multiverse of Madness had so much potential, but overall overpromised. And Love and Thunder, well, and could the pacing in the TV shows be better? Maybe. I personally think the long form of storytelling has been abused by every streaming service. It can appear like the stories are disjointed, lacking in compelling characterization arcs or creative pacing, and it does feel a lot like the pervasiveness of content on Disney Plus is a negative sum game that damages the creation of some new storylines. Now, having said that, of course you know I have a counterpoint. I don't believe the MCU really set out to be the MCU. In the beginning, a very broke, bankrupt Marvel Enterprises took a $525 million loan to make movies on their secondary characters. Black Panther, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Ant-Man. Brethren, think about this for a second. The laughingstock of the superhero movie industry had to let their babies go for a song. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men already went to other larger studios way back before some of these YouTubers were even born. The new entity, Marvel Studios, had a simple job from the get-go: tell a story and turn a profit. When Kevin Feige and his team saw the opportunity to broaden the universe, they did. Do you think they brought in James Gunn because he had the cachet of Chris Nolan? The Russo brothers because they were as cool as Zack Snyder? Fracking no! After being treated like the redhead stepchild and being turned down by pretty much everyone else, they brought in different people with their own visions and took chances and risks. They didn't ask our permission, and I don't blame them. Fun fact, the focus group of nerds and geeks back in the early millennium hated Iron Man. Marvel Studios simply told stories they considered good stories based on the comics. They trusted their writers, directors, special effects teams, casting crew to make sure that this vision will be brought to fruition. They didn't reinvent the superhero genre. They tossed their heroes into lots of other genres. The Ant-Man series is basically the heist genre, the Captain America series is very much spy and action thriller. The Iron Man movies were a mix of business, action, drama, and Thor went from being classical Shakespeare to space opera, comedy, whatever Taika Waititi is calling it these days. Like it or lump it, the MCU did not become a business decision. It was always a business decision, and a very risky one. If Marvel Studios could not turn a profit and pay off over $500 million in debt, they would lose the secondary characters they were trying to put into film. In another universe where Iron Man bombed, the MCU never came to be, and fanboys never got to see Captain America wield Mjolnir. As such, as flummoxed as I can be with Kevin Feige, he has earned my trust for over a decade. Losing my mind 2 years into one phase of the MCU seems a trifle dramatic and impulsive and unnecessary. Anyhow, the final detail that I will deign to introduce is the idea that the new characters don't have a unifying connection. It has been whispered that the prior phases had Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor as the main characters. Spider-Man showed up in Captain America, Hulk showed up in Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man showed up everywhere. Phase 4 does seem to have fewer crossovers or overarching storylines. Now, I could waste my spit arguing that Wanda was in Doctor Strange 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy were in Thor 4. Abomination, Hulk, and Wong were also in Shang-Chi. I'm not doing that though. I am going to introduce you to a concept called narrative de-escalation, a storytelling device that occurs quite a bit in comic books. Basically, after a large-scale crossover event, the next few installments of the superhero story slow down as they go back to basics and reboot the essence of being a hero. That's what Phase 4 is. It's a movie reset. Old characters are being rebooted, new storylines are being threaded, and a new universe, or in this case, multiverse, is being created. MCU fans who have never been comic book fans are only getting restive about the narrative pacing because they've never experienced this before. Phase 1's plan was all about building the Avengers. Phase 4 is about building more than the Avengers. Frankly, after Kevin Feige outlined Phase 5 and Phase 6, I was pretty darn sure that we should not expect to see the Avengers for a long while in the MCU. Why? Because the focus has always been about moving the MCU in a new direction. There'll be more of everything, more diversity, more powers, more universes, more females, and those are not bad things. A whole continent of people love Miss Marvel. She-Hulk is another risk that seems to be paying off for me. So, moviegoers, be patient or take a big fat pause. There will be some hits, there will be some misses. The thing that matters most is whether we can trust Marvel Studios with our beloved characters, whether we can trust the process as the new stories are being woven. I mean, come on, the warts of the MCU have been evident from the very beginning. The episodic nature of the movies, the simplistic villains of Phase 1 and 2, the sparse use of colors, the predictable third acts, yada yada yada. We know this already. Some of us haven't just tolerated them, we've hyped them on. In fact, Marvel Studios is so tied into the zeitgeist of popular culture that they lean into it. They encourage the hype, they get the spectacle, and they want to offer fan service like the best of us. I've never fallen for it. Stories are what matter most to this Niger nerd. Now, I personally identify with the Scott Fitzgerald quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless yet be determined to make them otherwise." For now, in my limited and humble estimation, rumors of the impending demise of the MCU are greatly exaggerated. These ridiculous rumors do not come from a place of love. They come from a place of fear. The spreaders are the same people that were concerned the MCU would get too large, that there will be superhero fatigue, that there will be dilution of characters and this and that and that and this. They claim.
I'd like to welcome all you ignorant ass bitches, critics, complainers, disgruntled rappers, and racists especially, to the 9th Annual International Player Haters Ball. Oh man, hate.
Claim love of the MCU and offer very little hope. They offer opinions and very few facts. The Phase 4 movies did as well, review and box office wise, as the prior phases that came before. That's just a fact. I totally get if they decide to stop loving the MCU. It's their choice to love what or who they love. Feel free to do so. Also, feel free to stop conflating desire with reality. As a recreational, lifetime reader of comic books, I know maybe suspect where the threads are headed. If I'm wrong, call me a charlatan and never watch my content again. I'll endeavor to get over the rejection. Shoot, I'm frankly impressed. You've made it this far. Anyhow, if I'm right, come back to my channel, make a comment admitting it, and get back to loving what makes us truly MCU fans, believing in the impossible. Okay, here's my spiel. The last movie of Phase 6 is Avengers Secret Wars. Over the next few years, there will be incursions from other universes that will result in different characters bleeding in and out of our universe. In that time, and per Loki, Kang and his multiversal selves will start their war. The new Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men from all realities will come together to save their universes. They will ultimately fail before Mr. Fantastic and Victor Von Doom come up with a plan for siphoning the Kang's powers. The genius duo will use the temporal cosmic energy to recreate a new universe, except that Doom wants to be in charge, and so co-opts the power to create a collection of all the universes into a place called Battle World. In that one reality, Doom rules as God. Reed Richards brings together a team of smart, superpowered people to bring Doom down. Hopefully T'Challa shows up for this one. Together with all the heroes and more than a few villains from the previous multiverses, the mission is completed and Reed or T'Challa or Bruce Banner recreates a new universe. Once the reboot is complete, the next phase of the MCU will begin again. Yeah, it will be a bumpy ride, and your perceptions and patience will be tested. But once we get there, and I hope we get there together, you might understand what the preceding stories were in service of. You will forgive and forget the clunkiness of the preceding chapters. Yes, Phase 4 is larger than Phase 1 and 2 combined. Yes, more and more characters are being introduced via long-form storytelling. Yes, it feels like you're floundering in the desert. Can I be real a second? For just a millisecond? Calm the flip down. Take a breath. Have a little faith. Keep watching. It will all get better in the end. I am right there with you. We all want to get to the cool stuff. Trust me, if Kevin did not care about these heroes, if Disney wanted to make their money back immediately, they would have pulled the WB and made another Avengers movie and get paid. Because why not? The dude is willing to tell the story the right fracking way, even if it pisses off a whole bunch of self-righteous fans. Boys and girls, accept this basic tenet going forward in your MCU movie watching. Everything dies. Everything lives again. Everything changes. Everything stays the same. Get used to being challenged, being uncomfortable, to having females, Africans, Latinx characters running through the MCU. The kaleidoscope of humanity is more than just one shade. Is beautiful, is bursting with life, and we love them all. Kamala Khan, Sam Wilson, Mark Spector, Yelena Belova, Kate Bishop, Shang-Chi, Bucky Barnes, Riri Williams, and Doctor Strange. They appeal to us, millions of us. Look, Captain America Civil War could not match the first Civil War in the comics. I do not expect the execution of the Secret Wars saga to match the graphic novel medium's equivalent. As long as they hit the high points, as long as they inspire our generation and the generations to come, as long as they bring our heroes back home, I will tolerate anything to have a fully integrated MCU. So, to any casual observer to this little rant, I want to be respectful and appreciative of you. Thank you for coming to this channel. I really do. Some things can be facts and still be offensive, so apologies if I triggered you. However, if you're one of those mischievous minions that has been waiting to hate on the MCU because you've secretly envied its success and expected it to meet the standards that you couldn't hope to create, you know where you can go. I don't have a flying fig to give you. Choose to be happy or don't. Quit muddying the waters with your asinine narrative. Actually, hold up. I might have been a trifle rough with the anti-woke naysayers out there, so here's a peace offering. You see, Mr. Feige watches my channel, so I'm sure he will take my advice. This one time, meet me at camera 3. Hey Kevin, there's no sugarcoating what I'm about to say, so let's just get to it. The elephant in the room is that your team and Disney are doing way too many TV shows. So here's what I think you need to do. Go bigger! Tell more stories, add more flavor, really get the MCU where you need it to go. You are never going to please everyone or win the mob over, so don't even bother. As a tiny favor to me, make sure the directors do their due diligence though. And as a major favor, give Nando V Movies a job. Yeah, I'll miss his wisdom and ideas on YouTube, but this dude could be the next you. Look him up, you won't regret it. In conclusion, the MCU is alive. The MCU is amazing. Maybe it's not for you anymore, and that's okay. I hope we can all survive without you. In the meantime, this has been one of the Niger Nerd stories. Aim high, true believers.
Coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider. We're all part of one big family, the human family, and we all come together in the body of Marvel. And you're part of that family. You're part of the Marvel Universe that moves ever upward and onward to greater glory. In other words, Excelsior!